Cool.
We're back, baby. Last second covers. I'm Chaz here with Sula. As Sula takes a sip of some White Claw, I'm presuming.
Yeah. Nice warm room temperature White Claw.
That's a brutal way to come back from vacation.
Well, it's my fault. I left them in my room.
But we're officially back. It's been a few weeks. As we mentioned, Sula had himself a little sort of westward expansion and a nice vacation. But we are in the studio and have a lot to cover now that sports are ready to kick off. At least we sure think so. So in this week's episode, we have our rumor mill, as we always do. Big news in terms of the NFL on a couple of fronts. Major QB movements or extensions. Wink, wink as to what that's going to be. And then the big name change potentially coming up in DC. And as I mentioned before, we have baseball specifically on the horizon, hopefully. And I preface hopefully because who really even knows at this point? And then to wrap up this week's episode, as always, we have our bottom of the barrel. So stay tuned to see what that's going to look like. And we are going to roll right into this thing. So Sula, first off, why don't you tell us just a little bit about your westward trip? How was it in the van?
The van was a lot better than you would think. Shout out to Escape Camper Vans. They make some good vans. And the van had a really goofy design on it, which I thought was hilarious.
Okay.
Like, nothing says like, hey, that's the van we should rob more than like the designs that they put on the van.
What was it on the front?
It just kind of looked like it almost looked like Mardi Gras, like the kind of lines and everything. The designs, it kind of looked like long drawn out like Saint logos, just that kind of curve. And like, I'm not describing it well, but
no, you're not at all. But
well, you know what? It's hard to describe. All right.
Okay. But aside from the van, how was the trip?
Awesome trip. I would recommend everybody go on a cross-country road trip like that. It was very fun.
All right.
It gives you a new appreciation for the country that we live in. I would say it's beautiful. I didn't know America looked like that. I'm used to the Northeast.
Yeah, true. Well, you went on yourself a little westward, got out of your comfort zone, went from Northeast all the way to the West. And my rumor actually ties in pretty perfectly to that topic.
That was slick. That was slick.
Thank you. You forgot how this thing can roll, baby. My rumor is back in the NBA, Trae Young potentially going to the Los Angeles Lakers, which would be worst case scenario for everyone who's not an LA fan. And the reason this rumor comes about is because Trae Young just recently changed his agencies from Octagon, which is based in Stamford, Connecticut, I'm pretty sure, to Clutch Sports. Clutch Sports being the main reason people emphasize this because, as you may or may not know, it was founded and currently run by none other than Rich Paul. Rich Paul, if you're not aware, Sula, I know you are, is best friends, buddies with LeBron James. So you could put two and two together right there. And the second he switched to Clutch Sports, it was Lakers Photoshop edits for Trae Young like nonstop. The reason, though, that people are maybe less optimistic or why Trae Young says he won't is because his emphasis on Clutch Sports was more for the agent, Omar Wilkes, who then became the head of basketball operations over at Clutch Sports. He had a long-standing established relationship with the Young family. So that, at least according to Trae Young's father, is why Young decided to move on from agencies. But, I mean, you never really know. Trae Young was cited as being frustrated with the Hawks Foundation. Atlanta then went out to get Clint Capella, but is that enough for Trae Young to stay? Is he going to find himself out in the Lakers with LeBron and AD?
Isn't this his second season? This what would have been this past season, I guess.
Is it second or third? I think you're right. I think it's a second.
Yeah, so he's still got a ways to go in his rookie deal, right? Like another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, if someone's going to trade for him, it's going to be a haul. Like there's no.
Yeah, you're going to have to give up, I think, way too much to get Trae Young, and I don't think the Lakers have what it takes to trade for Trae Young.
Well, and there's no doubt that their core is, aside from LeBron and AD, poor.
Yeah,
it's not good.
Hey, they just signed JR, who's basically he's got the confidence that Trae Young does.
Fair,
so, but I don't think he'd end up in LA.
No,
at all. No.
What about this hypothetical? What if you trade Alex Caruso,
right,
and more realistically, Anthony Davis?
No,
you wouldn't trade AD for Trae Young?
Absolutely not. AD is
really?
one of the top 3 players in the world.
You think AD is top 3 player in the NBA?
Playing right now, yeah.
Wow.
That's not injured. I have him at number 3.
No, well, who do you have at 1 and 2 then?
LeBron and Kawhi.
So, okay. So so let's say if KD wasn't injured, would he be over AD?
Then AD goes to 5.
Who goes to 4 then?
Steph.
Oh, another injury. Okay, fair. Okay.
So, but he's still a top 5 player in the world when everyone's healthy.
Yeah. Well, also too, what if AD decides to opt out?
Well, I don't think he will.
No.
He might opt out, but that's just a sign of larger contract with the Lakers. I think AD's staying in LA.
I don't know. I don't know who I'd take over starting like a franchise with AD or Trae Young. I think I'm inclined to agree.
26, 27?
Yeah, he's not old. And I think I'm inclined to agree with you because having like an established Anthony Davis for a win now Lakers is probably more important than Trae Young's development. Trae Young, obviously an all-star, but you're talking a guy who could like reach the moon, but is not really quite there yet. So I guess I'd agree with you in keeping AD, but it's interesting to think about.
Definitely interesting. It'd be cool to especially if they wouldn't have to give up AD or LeBron, obviously. To watch those 3 on the court would be a lot of fun. Yeah, I could see LeBron making that face he made at JR in the finals at Trae Young all the time. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, what was that shot?
I could see though, something like pull the old school Nets when they decided to trade all of their draft picks for all of time to the Celtics.
That was always a bad decision to trade that many first round picks.
Maybe one of the worst trades of all time to get KG on his deathbed.
The worst trade of all time. And Paul Pierce. Don't forget about Paul Pierce.
Oh, goodness gracious. And Jason Terry. Can't forget.
You can't forget the Jet.
Exactly.
Can't forget the Jet.
But yeah, something tells me Trae Young won't be going to LA anytime soon, at least not by trade. He'll probably have to let his contract go out. And even still, sounds like he's pretty committed to trying to win in Atlanta. Yeah,
I think I think Clutch Sports is really good at getting their players paid. So that's probably why he's going to get a max contract one way or another. But
absolutely.
I think the guys at Clutch Sports, who is it? Omar Wilkes?
Omar Wilkes, and then of course Rich Paul.
Oh, of course, Rich Paul. I think they are just so good at what they do. They'll get him incentives that are just going to make him laugh to the bank every day.
Well, then too, you just got to think if over the course of the rest of his rookie contract, if Rich Paul is going to step in and just say, "Hey, LA's there if you want it."
LA's there.
Just saying.
Yeah, and we don't know if LeBron will be there at that point.
No, he probably wouldn't, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows? Maybe Trae Young to become the next big Laker. But on the flip side of things, in the NFL, you have a bit of a head case as a roomie, don't you?
Oh yeah, you know it. So apparently, as we know, Antonio Brown not on a team right now. However, there are a lot of teams that have been showing interest in signing him, and the one that has showed the most interest apparently is the Seattle Seahawks. They have said that they are very interested in him. Russell Wilson has been very vocal in the offices, apparently, that he wants him. There was the video that came out a week or 2 ago where Russell Wilson and AB were practicing together. Mm-hmm. And granted, when he comes back, he will be suspended for a few games. But I think it'd be huge to get Russell Wilson a big-time receiver, because Russell Wilson has been making stars out of scrubs his entire career. You put a real star with him, and I think that is a deadly connection.
It's a fair point. Like, who's the best receiver Russell Wilson's ever had? Is it Doug Baldwin?
Yeah, exactly.
Tyler Lockett? Like, they're not stars by any means.
No, I mean, Doug Baldwin went to the Eagles, and he was just another wide receiver.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that. So
Golden Tate, I think.
Golden Tate. Yeah, that's a fair point. Mm-hmm. So, like, I don't know. I think it's a valid point that Antonio Brown is like, there's no denying he's one of the best talents in the league. But my God, what a personality!
He's a head case. But I think Seattle would be a good spot for him with Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. I think, granted, he couldn't stay out of trouble with Belichick and Brady, but
he got one game in.
I think Pete Carroll is a lot more of a player's coach that he'll give a little bit more slack. And I think AB would be very happy in Seattle. And I think it'd be a great signing if you ask me.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, yes, he's a head case, but his talent speaks for itself.
Yeah, but he drove himself out of 3 situations. He drove himself out of Pittsburgh. He drove himself out of Oakland. And then he drove himself out of New England.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll last in Seattle. I don't think it's a Seattle thing. I think it's just I don't think he'll last on the team.
I'm not saying he'll definitely last or he definitely won't, but I think it's worth the risk.
Sign him for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. He'll be healthy.
That's true.
Yeah.
Maybe not all there, but he'll be healthy.
Physically healthy.
Do you think Antonio Brown signs with any team this year?
Yes, I do. And I think it'll be Seattle.
I'm not as optimistic.
Apparently, Russell Wilson's like clamoring for it. And like, Russell Wilson, I assume, is a good judge of character.
Sure.
I can only assume that. He seems like a really nice dude. I don't think he surrounds himself with a bunch of assholes. And if he thinks Antonio Brown would be a good fit, which he definitely would be. And also, I feel like that organization owes Russell Wilson so much that if he says, please sign this guy, they will try their damnedest to do it.
I mean, there's no doubting it'll boost the offense by a considerable margin, right? Because right now their starting receivers are DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. I think those are the starting 2. And then in the backfield you have Chris Carson, who's pretty good, but wasn't really healthy last year. And then he still played with like a dual tri-headed, almost like running back system. So
yeah, they'll always do that though.
Yeah, but I mean, adding Antonio Brown, if you had him on Madden, talent-wise, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'm not quite as optimistic on that. The fact that he'll just mesh into the system as well, and that's just an AB thing.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to have your doubts, but I just think the guy's so talented and so good that you got to give him a shot.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see if Belichick taught him anything, because he was begging to come back to New England after he got cut.
Yeah, but he called Robert Kraft I don't remember exactly what he said, but he didn't say nice things about Mr. Kraft there.
He called everyone something. Everyone had something else. It was Mike Mayock too.
Except Brady. He didn't call Brady anything. And Brady still wanted him back. Brady wants him in Tampa.
I was about to say, could you imagine that?
He wants him, but they're saying no. They're saying we're not signing that guy.
Why do you need him? You have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
And Gronk.
Well.
And OJ.
Yeah.
It's a good team.
OJ Howard dropped a lot of balls last year.
Yeah, but Brady throws a better ball than Jameis. That's all I'm saying.
It's different. It'll be different. But
I think it'll be better.
I definitely have some disagreement with you that AB will find a team, but we will just have to wait to find out there. But still, in terms of the NFL, big payday for one guy specifically. If you haven't heard this news yet, you've been living under a rock. Patrick Mahomes just signed the biggest deal in sports history. The contract is a 10-year extension that's worth upwards of $500 million. We're talking, I think, according to Adam Schefter, up to $503 million over the lifetime of that contract. That's crazy, dude. That's a crazy amount of money.
He deserves it.
Yeah?
I think he owns like every record. Granted, he's only played, I think, like 31 games.
Mm-hmm.
He has every record for a quarterback through their first 31 games. And in his first 2 seasons as a starter, MVP in the Super Bowl.
Those are valid points.
And he's going to be good for 10 years. Like, unless he gets hurt. And then I think if he gets hurt, he's guaranteed $142 million or something like that.
166.
Was it 166?
166.
Okay. But,
crazy.
They're crazy numbers, but I think he deserves it. He's going to be the face of the league for the next 10 years.
I agree with you there. I see 2 sides of it, right? Like, there's the one side where it's like he is undoubtedly going to be getting paid in the future. And if Casey doesn't pay him, someone's going to pay him more, right? That's just how it's going to work. Right. So no denying that. He had to get his bag, especially coming off his rookie deal.
Mm-hmm.
But also, he got an average annual salary of $45 million every single year, minus the incentives. That's just like right there.
Right.
The next highest, and we talked about it on a previous podcast too when talking about Dak, is Russell Wilson at 35 mil. Yeah. So, I mean, Pat Mahomes raised the bar pretty massively, man. 10 mil more than anyone else in the league.
I can't wait for the next group of guys trying to sign contracts. Be like, yeah, but he got this. It's like, yeah, but you're not him.
So it's gonna be Dak Prescott. He's gonna try and talk about
Dak's gonna try and get 50 a year. If I was Jerry Jones, I would just tell him to go fuck himself. Like, I'll draft another guy in the third round. Like, if Dak has the balls to go in there and ask for anywhere near what Patrick Mahomes is getting, like, I would just show him the door. I'd be like, get out of my office right now.
There's no way that anyone else would justify that kind of money.
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
Well, question to you then is, what happens when a couple of years from now Lamar Jackson is going to be off his rookie deal? Do you give him that type of money?
We'll see what he accomplishes. If he wins the Super Bowl, maybe. Because he already has the MVP.
True.
So if he has the same accolades as Mahomes, you can justify it. I don't think he will, so I don't think he's going to get near that amount, but you could justify it.
I can't fathom that much money. And like there's no doubt. I mean, you have to understand, like, of course, like the salary cap, with the exception of maybe the near future with COVID affecting everything, salary caps is always going to keep going up. So that amount's always going to inflate and inflate and inflate. So definitely, like, someone in 5 years from now, 6, 7, 8 years from now, like, someone's going to hit 45 mil a year. Definitely.
Yeah.
I just did not expect him to hit that number now, especially seeing where the rest of the league is.
Yeah, I didn't expect them to do it now. I expected it to be maybe next year with 1 year left on his rookie deal, but definitely didn't expect it now.
Well, a sidebar, when you turn to my Jets and Jamal Adams, the whole argument was, well, like, Patrick Mahomes hasn't gotten an extension. Deshaun Watson hasn't gotten an extension. They have the same amount of time, but now Pat Mahomes is the richest man in all sports. So poo-poo to that idea. Now the Jets are going to pay Jamal Adams.
Yeah, they're going to have to give him a lot, too. A lot.
Well, he wants to be like the highest paid defensive player in the league.
Yeah, I could see him asking for that. Do I think he should be? No, but I can definitely see him asking for that.
He's been very vocal in asking for that. And I understand, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but at the same time, $20+ million for a year for
safety.
Yeah, he's a great safety. I'm not going to deny it, but I mean,
he is the quarterback of that defense.
No doubt. But also, too, when you have CJ Mosley coming back this year, CJ Mosley might become the quarterback, and then Jamal Adams. I don't know. I could go on this for a long time. I wish Jamal Adams would be a little less publicly criticizing of the Jets on social media, but it is what it is. You can't censor players. That's the beauty of this. You need the leverage.
Yeah, and plus he knows everyone will be on his side. He'll be like, yeah, it's the fucking Jets. I assume the player's right.
Yeah, probably. But now that Mahomes is locked up for 10 years in KC, a pretty pertinent question is, not only was he worth the money, but is he going to bring KC some rings in the next decade? He's already got one, right? But what's it going to look like for the next 5-10 years?
My guess would be he wins at 2 or 3 more Super Bowls, and probably 4 more MVPs.
That is a high expectation.
He's that good.
He is.
That offense is that good.
Like, but the downside of his contract is now, after this year, they're going to have like no cap room left to sign all these like star players.
Yeah, but I feel like if you let's like go in the draft and look for fast wide receivers, Andy Reid can make it work, and he'll just fucking throw it down the field and he'll catch it. I think that offense, with if you have speed guys on wide receiver and you have Patrick Mahomes, it's going to work.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, you have the offense who, aside from Tyreek Hill, there's not really like a star on that team. Like, they ran back there with it was Mecole Hardman, and did they have Carlos Hyde for a little bit? I think they did.
I think so. But they got Travis Kelce Best tight end.
That's a good
second
point.
Best
Yeah.
tight end in the league.
Who? Oh, Gronk. Yeah. Oh.
No, I give it to Kittle.
Really? Over Travis Kelce?
Kittle's a better blocker.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta do both.
That's a fair point.
Kittle's exceptional at both.
But yeah, now with a guy who's making $45 million a year, I mean, just the opposite of the Brady effect, right? Brady always took his discounts so that you could get better players on offense. Now you're paying everything in your quarterback, and you have to kind of bank on drafting the next Tyreek Hill versus getting to re-sign him. Yeah,
that's true. But I just think he's that good to where in that system it will work.
It's tough to argue. I mean, you've seen that the exact same team could win a Super Bowl. So I would say in the near future, they're going to have no problem. They're the favorites to win Super Bowl 55 coming up this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're 5-1 odds on that. So they're clear-cut favorites. The extension didn't really make much of a difference, but I think 3, 4, 5 years down the line, as you start to extend into the further future, I think they might start to have some problems because some of that talent's going to dissipate and you can't bring it in. But that's why you try to win now with your rookie QBs. While they're on that rookie deal, you gotta send it home. And in case he did just that. So pretty good strategy there. But aside from Pat Mahomes, obviously some mega contracts, he beat out Mike Trout, which I thought was interesting.
That was the most shocking thing about it. Because when I saw it at first, when I think Schefter said highest paid contract in sports history, I just went, he beat Mike Trout.
Right.
Who is like, as we've said it several times on the show, probably the greatest baseball player of all time.
He's looking like it.
Granted, Mahomes has the full potential to be the best quarterback of all time. So,
but still,
it makes sense.
Mike Trout plays 162 games a year.
Yeah.
Pat plays 16.
True. But Mike Trout might play 0 this year. So
that's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. But I don't know. I mean, I can't fathom $500 million.
I think just by signing his name, they gave him like $60 million.
Yeah, seriously.
It's just absurd.
It's crazy. And I mean, we've talked about how baseball has the fattest contracts, but
I mean, for how long now? 50 years they've had the biggest contracts? Probably
pretty much.
Yeah. But
I don't know what to like going forward. I can't see someone breaking Pat Mahomes' number. Like I really can't. If Mike Trout couldn't in baseball, who can?
I probably if it's going to be anybody right now, it's probably going to be Lamar Jackson. He's the only one that's got a shot.
Well, until they draft the next Messiah and Trevor Lawrence.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah. You think he's gonna end up being an MVP?
Yeah. Depends. It depends what Cincinnati does around him.
Well,
I think he is an MVP talent, but if they don't help him, then he's got no shot.
Well, they kept a nice aging AJ Green for him, so that's something.
30, 31 now, AJ Green?
I also think he's been injured for the last 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Which is it's tough, Injuries are tough, but my goodness. But on the topic of still in the NFL, but flipping to more of a franchise as a whole, a potential name change in the works, and this one's been a long time coming. We have, for the last 2 years, been addressing them as the Washington R words, trying to avoid using what's currently their name, the Redskins, in hopes that they would end up changing their name. And it looks like they are. There has been a lot of action trying to get them to move. Aside from all the petitions and whatnot, the NFL shop and Nike took all Redskins apparel down off the websites. Amazon just did the same. Walmart just did the same. So, and to top it all off, FedEx, who sponsors FedEx Field in DC where the Redskins play, also publicly asked them in a statement to change their name. So a lot of, out of kind of nowhere, I feel like too, a lot of momentum to get this name changed. And as a result, Dan Snyder said that they are having quote unquote internal conversations to see if a name change is necessary. And if so, what? So it kind of begs the question to me though, like, is Dan Snyder actually going to change the name?
I think at this point he has to. What And I think it definitely wasn't his idea, first of all.
Of course not.
Like, I'm giving zero credit to Dan Snyder.
No, he's been the biggest, adamant.
Yeah.
He does not want to change the name.
Now, where I will give him credit, but not good credit, bad credit, apparently the front runner right now is the Warriors.
Really?
What a shitty generic name that you're gonna pick for your fucking football team.
No kidding.
When I saw Warriors was in the lead right now, I was like, you can be more creative than that. Golden State gets a pass, even the Warriors forever. Right now, it's 2020. You can only come up with the Warriors. Come on.
Well, I like the alliteration, the Washington Warriors.
I don't.
No.
No.
You know what I thought was a cool one?
What?
Red Tails.
Red Tails?
I think like a fox?
Or what's a red? Foxes are orange, red.
Well, I guess that's valid. But it's supposed to be historical because I guess the first African American, what would you call obviously not the Navy's in this guy, but the first what do you call no, not an Air Force, but what's the equivalent of a battalion in the Air Force?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
I don't know, but the first fighter jets that were led by African American members they called themselves the Red Tails.
Mm-hmm.
It was in DC. It fits the name, pays a little bit of homage to some historical movement there, and it still fits with red if people are obsessed with Redskins.
You know what? I like that.
Dwayne Haskins also liked it. That's an important tidbit.
Dwayne Haskins liked it, or he came up with it?
He liked it. He didn't come up with it.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I don't know what else is being thrown out there. I've saw some weird. It'd be red streaks. I'm everyone's coming up with things that are around red. I don't know why we can't get off of red.
It's just what we're used to, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't stick on red, but I do like that. That's a good one.
Have you heard anything else besides Warriors and Red Tails?
No, just that.
That's kind of.
I've only heard the Warriors, and I was like, please don't do that.
Yeah, I also heard Senators, kind of like the old DC baseball team, but I also think Senators is not really an intimidating name.
Isn't that a hockey team?
The Senators.
No. I thought it was.
Is that Ottawa? I can't remember off the top of my head. Not a hockey guy.
Not a hockey guy, no.
Not intimidating, though. Senators are actual people.
Well, yeah. My whole thing is don't pick a name that another team already has. I'm pretty sure there's a Senators in hockey.
I think you're dead on, actually.
Okay.
So, yeah. I'd agree with that. I thought it was weird when they were the Atlanta Thrashers, I'm pretty sure, and then they moved to Winnipeg and became the Winnipeg Jets. I was like, really? Someone else wants to be the Jets? That's what significance is that?
Stigma with that name.
Yeah, you don't want misery for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I think it's also weird that they would do that when there's already a team called the Flyers.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty similar. Again, be more creative.
True. But yeah, so that name change seems like it's on the horizon in DC, but it also got the Cleveland Indians to make a public statement too, saying that they're going to be evaluating, as a quote unquote, evaluating this process to see if we also would like to change our name. They've talked for a while and they've actually made strides to remove Chief Wahoo from a lot of their graphics and logos and whatnot, because I think that was maybe. And I can't say from a personal perspective because I don't have the experience in walking in those shoes, but that seems to be the most offensive aspect of what their branding was the whole Chief Wahoo face.
I would say hands down. It's got to be, right?
Yeah.
I remember seeing it when I was a kid going, something about that.
Yeah.
They've just been rocking with the C.
Which is, it's cool. It's a classic logo.
I like the C. I like it a lot, actually.
Well, you know what they were saying though.
About Ohio as a whole.
The C?
Yeah, that logo is the best thing about Ohio, the state in general.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got some really big words and praise for Ohio,
huh? No.
Yeah. But you know what they were saying is if they had to change the Indians' name, people were saying apparently they used to be the Spiders. And I guess they want to do that again.
That sounds like such a minor league team name.
Right? It's like a AA affiliate.
Yeah, I know I'm not coming up. I know I'm just shitting on these names and not coming up with anything myself, but it's not my job to. So
yeah, that's a good point. We're not marketing directors. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like the Cleveland Spiders as an MLB team.
No.
What would be a really cool name?
That literally sounds like their minor league affiliate.
What would you think, top of your head? This is a tough question. What would the team in Cleveland have to be named?
Oh, I don't know. The Cleveland Rock Stars. I don't know. They got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland.
It sounds better than Spiders.
I mean, it's kind of lame. Oh, they can be sponsored by Rockstar, the energy drink.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe the
that could be their logo. Just the big energy drink. I think it's that star. I don't know. I'm not.
I have no idea.
Guy.
I'm not into my fourth grade habits anymore.
Oh, you drank that in fourth grade?
No, well, actually, I remember drinking by accident like 6 Red Bulls at camp.
I did that by accident.
I didn't know there was an energy drink. I thought it was just like a good tasting drink.
Red Bull tastes good.
I thought it tasted pretty good. It was decent. Yeah, it was pretty good.
All right.
What a mistake, dude. I was lying on my stomach for the next like 5 hours, just like, oh, something's not right here.
Yeah, I had to drink a few on the trip. So I could stay awake at like 4 a.m. while driving. Doesn't help.
No?
That doesn't help at all. I was still falling asleep at the wheel.
Did you guys try? Did you try some 5-hour energies at all? Because I've never actually had one.
Those help. I like 5-hour energies.
Okay.
Does not last 5 hours. Like maybe last an hour.
Well, if you're taking it at like 3 a.m., then I'm sure it probably wouldn't help stay up for 5 hours.
It did not.
It's just.
I tried taking 2, be like, oh, I get double the energy. Didn't work.
God.
Didn't work.
Your stomach and intestines must have been on quite the trip too.
I was fine.
Kudos to you. That's impressive.
Yeah, stomach of steel over here.
Oh, Lord.
Taco Bell.
Yes.
Cleveland Taco Bell.
That's a better name than the Spiders.
Yeah.
It's a better name than the Indians.
Cleveland Crunchwrap Supremes.
Oh, I like that a lot.
You got it. Crack code.
Oh, well, we should be in charge of the next branding effort then. So Dan Snyder and whoever the owner of the Indians are, hit us up.
Yeah.
We got some Taco Bell names. But actually that segues pretty strangely well into our next topic, which is about the MLB season as a whole. I don't know, dude. I don't know about this. I mean, I'm sure we know in general that the MLB is supposed to be coming back in about 2 weeks from now from the time of recording. July 23rd is supposed to be like quote unquote opening day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I still hold a lot of pessimism that it's going to happen.
Yeah. I am a little optimistic, mainly because there aren't a lot of big names backing out. I know Mike Trout keeps saying he's on the fence, but who's the biggest name right now? David Price?
Well, David Price is probably the biggest one to back out, but where I think my biggest reservation comes in is the fact that Freddie Freeman, who's a pretty huge name in baseball, not only is not going to be at spring training camp, whatever you want to call this version of spring training, but he tested positive for COVID-19. And as a result, Freddie Freeman
had it back in March.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I thought he had it. I thought he was in March or April he had gotten it.
I don't think so. I think it's unless he tested positive again, but he definitely has it pretty recently. And I know that because Nick Markakis, who's his teammate in Atlanta, said that he backed out of this season because he called Freddie Freeman a few days ago and heard how bad he was, how badly he was doing with coronavirus, and was like, oh my God,
really?
I'm not going to put myself in harm's way, especially with my family. So I'm just backing out of the season.
Wow. Dude, this thing's crazy, man.
It's horrible.
My neighbor had it, and she was like, yeah, it was a bad flu. And I'm sure she's not as healthy as Freddie Freeman.
Right.
And he's doing horribly.
He said horribly.
That's wild.
And it depends on not just the health of the person, but also apparently there have been dozens of different strains. Yeah. So who knows which one you're going to get, which is just one of the scarier things.
Yeah. When you say something like that, yeah, makes you pessimistic. But I can't afford to be pessimistic. Well, I can't afford to be pessimistic, but I just don't want to be. If I can will it into existence.
Well,
my other buddies keep saying football's not going to happen. No, fuck that. Football's happening.
Well, the weirdest thing about football, did you hear this? How Goodell was saying that they're not going to have like post-game ceremonies. You have to stay 6 feet away, so you can't do jersey swaps and everything.
Really?
Is that not crazy? Because am I crazy?
You're hitting each other the whole game.
Yeah, it's the sport of like murdering each other. Like
yeah.
You get as close as possible, but then post-game you can't get close. Like, what's the difference going on?
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't understand it at all. I really don't. Unless it's good, they're going to play flag football, which would be kind of cool, but not obviously.
I don't want to see that.
I think it'd be kind of cool. It would be not the NFL, but it'd be kind of cool. You have a lot of speedsters out there.
True.
But I think my pessimism with the MLB even more so gets amplified because what came out a few days ago was the Nationals ended up stopping their, like, again, quote unquote, spring training, whatever this version is, because they had sent in all their player tests 3 or 4 days prior, and they still hadn't gotten the lab results. And the MLB had promised to get them back in 24 hours, and they still hadn't gotten them. And so the Nationals said, we can't afford to put all these players and faculty and staff members at risk because we don't know. And then if there's one guy that's sick and we don't know, and then everyone gets sick, So yeah. And it happened with the A's, it happened with the Astros, it happened with the Angels. I don't know why it happened so much in the West Coast, but it was a pretty prevalent problem going on in the MLB, and not good, especially when you have all these false negatives too. Like I think it was someone else tested positive, then negative, then positive again. It really is a crazy situation, and I'm holding out hope we're going to get started, but I don't think we are.
I think we're too close. What is it? 2 weeks away? I think
2 weeks away.
We're too close at this point. We got to do it. I know it's bad for me to say, but it's really one sport's back.
I know. It'd be the closest to something. Also, what a slap in the face that the one sport we get back is the MLB.
The one sport we get back?
Yeah.
Well, you think basketball is going to happen?
I am also pessimistic about basketball, dude.
Oh, no. Don't say that.
I know. And you know what? I think there's actually a better chance of basketball happening. And this is more of like a gut based on just the news I've seen. I think there's a better chance of basketball happening than baseball, even though it's another week out. But did you see, I forget what NBA player tweeted about it, but the meals that they're getting in the bubble in Disney?
Oh, yeah.
It's like airline food.
Yeah, it was all airline food.
A bag of chips.
John Ronda today was like, really? A Motel 6? Is
that real?
I think so.
Oh, my God. That's atrocious.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta house a lot of players. So, like, it's not going to be suites and everything. But
still, I mean, they say that they have a $65 to $75 voucher every day for lunch and dinner, and that's what they get? That's what $65 gets you in Disney?
I mean, yeah.
I know it's Disney, but that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
I saw a meme today that was it was a pretzel that they sell shaped like Mickey Mouse.
Uh-huh.
And it just says that'll be $1,200, asshole. I was like, that's very Disney.
It really is.
Yeah.
I remember the one, I've only been to Disney, I think 1 or 2 times. And the one time I actually bought food there was like one of those big fucking turkey legs that they sell. It's like $40.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's only like $25 at Universal. So
that's why you go to Universal.
Why we go to Universal. This is a Universal household.
If only they had the NBA at Universal and not Disney.
Oh, yeah.
We'd be playing basketball.
We'd be playing today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Universal would just, go play in the Harry Potter castle over there. It'd be fun.
But back on the MLB, like, I really don't know. They did a relatively smart thing considering what's the circumstances, in trying to keep it on like a geographical location. So the AL East and the NL East stay on the East Coast, Central stays Central, West stays West.
I was looking at that right when I saw it be divisional games. I was like, AL East kind of sucks. If you're basically in the Northeast, then you got to go down to Tampa for 10 games, and then
Miami.
And Miami, yeah, for the NL East, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think they said the interleague, like the AL East will play the NL East as outside division games. So yeah,
It's weird. You get 10 games, and I'm pretty sure this is, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure you get 10 games
Mm-hmm.
Against each of your 4 divisional opponents, and then 4 games against each of the respective interleagues. Because that come up to 20. Yeah, exactly. It's 20 and 40 is 60. Yeah. The East specifically is in a tough situation because not only do you have to travel from like the Northeast all the way down to Miami and Tampa, but also don't forget you're going to Canada too.
Yeah, and Canada.
That's not easy.
Not easy, no.
I don't know what they're going to do too, because I don't know if logistically we're allowed to go between borders right now.
I assume they worked it out beforehand.
I would hope so.
That was an oversight.
I wouldn't put it past Manfred though, because Manfred doesn't give a shit about what's going on.
Yeah, he's just looking at that check, just like we need this money. That's all he cares about. But
No kidding.
They put a lot of rules. They're really trying to get this off the ground. I think like the no spitting.
Mm-hmm.
Pitchers aren't even allowed to lick their hands.
Well, who's gonna manage no spitting?
I don't know, Sky Judge.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. I don't think they can do it. I don't see why it's a big deal. If you spit in the dirt, like who cares?
Yeah.
Maybe just don't spit in the dugout. If you're in the outfield, who gives a shit?
Well, that's probably where most of the spitting is.
Yeah, probably. Well, I don't know. Have you seen all the like sunflower seeds around a lot of those dugouts? It's a lot.
Yeah.
All the dip.
I was about to say, yeah, we like to say bubblegum dip.
Yeah.
That does not clean up.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm looking at the player rules right now. My favorite one here is high fives, fist bumps, and hugs are all prohibited.
But I mean, like, I get not wanting contact, but let's be real. The batter and the catcher and the ump are all within like 3 feet of each other.
Yeah. And if there's a play at home plate and you hit that catcher, can you still do that? They call that legal now.
I mean, it depends. If there's catcher's interference, if you block the lane and block the plate. But I feel like they're always going to be play the plates.
I wonder if they're going to play it safe. Like there's a play at the plate and the player's just like, all right, fuck it, I'm out.
Well, what about tagging? Like you have to tag in baseball.
Yeah.
You can't beam them.
No, unfortunately you can't. That'd be funny though.
That would be something else. But what will be interesting though, that at least is a positive that comes out of this, is the NL finally gets to test the DH. Which at least as a Mets fan, I'm excited about, because now Robinson Cano or Cespedes gets to enter the lineup without having to take away from an actual fielding position, which would be pretty cool.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Also, they're doing the 3 batters rule for when you come out of the dugout.
I don't know how I feel about that rule, to be honest.
I hate that rule. I think that rule's so stupid. Mm. The game is going to take 3.5 hours no matter what.
Yeah.
You might as well just let the team strategize and do that. I mean, granted, I hate it when I'm at a game and a guy comes in for one batter and they got to wait again. But if my team's doing it, I don't care, which is basically all the sports. If my team's doing it, it's fine. If any other team, hate it. But I just think it takes a lot away from the strategic side of baseball, and I don't like it at all.
Yeah. Well, it's tough because now you need like you don't really have those specialists. I don't think it's going to be as important to get those guys because, like, yeah, sure, it might be good to have, you think of like a lefty specialist, say like Jerry Blevins or someone. Why have him if the next 2 batters are righties and they're going to clobber him?
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, that comes out of play almost entirely. So it really will be interesting. I don't think I particularly like the rule because, like you said, the strategy really diminishes there. But I guess if they're going to try and quote unquote innovate their way, you got to adapt.
Yeah. I have a question I just thought of. Has almost nothing to do with this.
Okay.
You know how they're switch hitters, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know how they're switch pitchers?
Yeah.
Very few, but are they allowed to switch from batter to batter?
There's a rule that between batter and batter.
You have to say like at the beginning of the inning, this inning I'm doing lefty or I'm doing righty, or can you you get the lefty out, righty's coming up, you're like, all right, I'm going to switch now.
Well, I'm pretty sure you could do that, but I don't know what's going to happen with like the new 3 batter rule because like, are you a different pitcher then?
Sure.
If that's I have no idea, but it's funny because they had they made a rule about being able to like switch pitcher, switch hitter because they'll just keep switching over and over. So you have to like
funny every time.
Crazy. If it didn't have a rule, it'd go on for hours.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it's hilarious.
But I'm going to pose one final question to you.
Okay.
If Mike Trout ends up opting out of the season, because he said, like we talked about, he's on the fence, and it's really for the purpose of family. Like a lot of other people made the good point. If you get it and you end up traveling back home to your family, you don't know what the risks are. So I completely understand it. But if he opts out, is it going to be less likely to have baseball this year?
I don't think they'd care.
I don't think so.
I don't think Mike Clout.
All that clout from Mike Trout.
Well, I was about to say, I don't think Mike Trout has that kind of clout. So, because yes, he's the best player in the league, but I don't think he has a voice like that. Like, I don't think everyone's like, oh, Mike. Like when Patrick Beverly said, if LeBron says we play, we play. No one said that about Mike Trout. Everyone's just like, let's play. I don't think he holds the star power.
That's crazy to say, but I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's just really crazy to say the best player in MLB history potentially doesn't have the star power.
Now, if he was like 2002 Barry Bonds, probably, and he said, I'm not playing, probably the whole thing's going down. But he just doesn't have the star power.
Well, that actually ties in pretty perfectly to what our bottom of the barrel is, because that is my number one thing. So bottom of the barrel for this week, it's going to be the worst things about baseball, because what better time to discuss some of the absolute shittiest things about the MLB than when it's about to come up in 2 weeks. And if you don't mind, Sula, I would like to kick off, because you said exactly what one of mine is the lack of marketability of all their top athletes. Because you have some of the best athletes. Maybe they're not in the best like shape physically. They're not going to crush you like an NFL linebacker, and they're not going to. They might. It's true.
Mike Trout is fucking huge.
Yeah, Pete Alonso, I'm sure, could beat up Mike Tyson.
Aaron Judge, yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, no kidding. But it's just like every other league doesn't have this issue. Why is the MLB? Nobody cares about the MLB when it has some of the best athletes. Like they say, scientifically, it should be impossible to hit a baseball, given the reaction time and the distance away. It should be literally impossible. And guys crank it 400, 500 feet into the stands.
Yeah.
And you can't market that?
Yeah.
I just think it's astounding. And it's these are some of the best guys on planet Earth to play a sport, and nobody cares.
Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of go off of that for what my number one is.
Okay.
And it's gonna be a stretch. The MLB should have steroids. Because did you watch the long ball or whatever that 30 for 30 was?
With Sosa McGuire? Yeah. No, I didn't see it.
Well, I watched some of it because it really wasn't good. But baseball looked like so much fun when they had these roided up guys just sending missiles to the stands. Like, and they were marketable. Sosa and McGuire, because they're hitting 60 home runs. Everyone's like, yes, give us more of this.
Right.
And so all I'm saying is feed a few of your stars some steroids. Boom. They become more marketable almost instantly when they start hitting dingers.
So one of the biggest problems with baseball is that there are no roids or HGH.
Yes.
I like that.
The biggest problems with baseball. I think people have been saying for years, just let them juice.
It's a bold perspective, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's a stretch, but I believe in it.
Okay, but snake style, number 2, what do you have?
I'm going to go with, granted, I haven't seen it in effect yet, but I'm going to go with their new stupid 3-batter rule.
Okay.
I think it's so stupid. I know I was just talking about it, but like I said, it completely takes away a lot of the strategy that goes along with baseball when you go lefty on lefty, righty on righty, whatever it might be. I just think it's so dumb. And for a sport that I know they keep saying they want to speed it up because nobody wants to sit there and watch 3 hours of baseball unless you're a diehard fan. But the game itself is just so slow anyways that this isn't going to help anything. Like there's nothing truly exciting about watching two guys play catch and the guy hit the ball 27% of the time. Sure. So like the game, you're not doing anything to the game itself that's going to make people want to watch it more. So I think it's such a stupid rule that they thought would be better for the game to speed it up.
Okay. That's fair. I hate the rule too, so I'm not going to counter you on that one.
Yeah.
But my number 2 actually ties in like right there with you. Pace of play. My second worst thing about baseball is pace of play. It's horrible. And I mean, we are 2 gigantic baseball fans in general, especially compared to like some other people our age. But you have to acknowledge baseball is a slow, grueling sport to watch through.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay when you're at a game because you're there. You get to experience the ballpark atmosphere. It's not as bad. But my God, trying to watch a game on television is practically impossible. You put it on for background noise.
Exactly. I kind of like it because I can put it on and like just be on my phone, just like not paying attention. And then if I hear a little excitement in the commentator's voice,
oh, it's a little deep. Oh, it's constant.
Fly ball.
Yeah, but it is. It's like something you could put on at work, something you put on at home. But if it's not your team playing and you try to watch a game on TV, I actually can't. I can't do it. Primetime games mean nothing to me. Monday Night Football, I'd be able to watch. Sunday Night Football, Thursday NBA on TNT. I could watch all those games. But any type of non-my team baseball, it's tough, man.
It's really tough. Yeah, no, I agree completely. It's like you said, like I'm the kind of person, not so much this past season, but I'm the kind of person that when it was Sunday, I would have like 3 screens around me. I'd have the Patriots on the TV because they're just the local game. Red Zone on my laptop, and then another game on my thing. I would never do that with baseball.
No, it's impossible. Also, too, the whole if you have like MLB TV, which I got a couple times for free from like just like offers.
That's cool.
It's cool, but MLB TV, like they never have the games that you want. Like if I were, let's say, for example, I was back in Indiana at college, like that's really I can't watch the Mets. Mm-hmm. You can't watch in-market games. You can only get like the radio, which is that's even worse.
Yeah.
So it was just bad.
I went to a game with I think my dad and my neighbor once. I think it was a Yankee game, and they wanted to leave early, so we got to beat the traffic. We'll listen to it on the radio. I was like, who the fuck wants to do that?
That's even worse than TV.
We're already here.
Yeah. That's a tough. I'm not a guy who leaves early. You can't. You're already there.
You paid for it. You might as well be there. The traffic is also never as bad as you think it's going to be. At least my personal experience.
It could get pretty bad.
It can get bad, but like, I don't know. I'd rather see the game.
You see the Dodgers World Series game where the 405 was backed up like maybe 100 miles. Not joking.
Actually, no, I didn't see that.
That's you got to look that up. It's really, really, really bad. It was crazy.
Yeah, LA just always has bad traffic, apparently.
That's not incorrect. So
yeah. I've never been there, but it's one of the first 2 things you hear about when people talk about LA.
Yeah.
Like, traffic.
I will say I didn't believe it until I went. We tried to get like just from our hotel to the Griffith Observatory. It's not that far on the freeway, but it took like 40 minutes because you couldn't move on the freeway.
Right. Yeah.
I guess that's LA for you. But my third pick, you could call my number 1 because I might be the most heated about this one. The worst thing about baseball, really the MLB, is Rob Manfred. I hate Rob Manfred. Name a worse commissioner. You could hate Goodell. He's not Rob Manfred, man.
Yeah.
Rob Manfred is horrible. Mm-hmm. Horrible.
Yeah.
That's all.
I don't know a ton about Rob Manfred, so I feel like
he just has no care. He's just like sitting in the ivory tower. Like, I guess you could say that about most commissioners, but Adam Silver's done a great job of being like a player's commissioner.
Adam Silver genuinely loves basketball, which I think is awesome. I mean, I think I've said this on the last podcast. I don't think Rob Manfred even likes baseball.
No, he really doesn't.
Yeah. And
granted, the owners don't either. They've made that very clear throughout this entire process. So I don't think it's going to be a good long-term scenario for the MLB with Manfred or any of these owners going forward, like past this year. I think it's going to be really, really bad. But Manfred specifically, man, like at least Goodell cares about football. You know, like even if I know you're a Pats fan, and with Deflategate, like what he tried to do was like save the integrity of the game in a way.
Sure.
You got to make sure there's nothing there. But like Manfred literally said like it's a hunk of metal when referring to the World Series trophy of the Astros, and that's why they should get to keep it. Like Those are two polar ends of the spectrum, man. The guy doesn't care. He doesn't care.
All right. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't agree with the Goodell thing, but I agree.
Yeah, well, I know you hate Goodell, so.
Well, like you said, you had to make sure there was nothing there, and there was nothing there. And then he suspended the man anyways.
The deflator. On the AM bot.
That's like clicking on there are local MILFs in your area. Falling for Deflategate. The deflator. Get the fuck out of here.
That's hysterical. It really is, though. But yeah, I gotta say, who was it before Manfred? Bud Selig. Mm-hmm. Bud Selig wasn't great, but better than Rob Manfred.
Yeah.
It's just bad. So that's my number one, or number three, I guess, whichever way you want to think about it. Worst thing about baseball, its own commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
But the floor is yours. Why don't you wrap it up?
Having a tough time. I guess one thing, it's kind of going against my thing about the what's it called? I guess I can blame the hitters. I'll blame the hitters themselves. You know when there's a shift on?
Mm-hmm.
If like a lefty's up, like everyone goes to the side with the where first base is. These guys seem like they're not capable of just like bunting it down the third baseline.
I see what you mean.
Like every time I see that shift, I used to freak out when Ortiz was at bat all the time. Like it was the biggest shift I'd ever see. The second baseman was playing right field.
Right. Yeah. No. Seriously.
And I'm like, dude, I know you're big and slow, but like all you got to do is bunt it that way, and you have a free. And they all do it. It's infuriating every time. You're a professional, especially Ortiz. He was a DH. All you do is hit. Learn to hit it the other way.
I know. It is kind of shocking the fact that like pull hitters really only pull the ball.
Yeah. And again, if you can only pull it when you swing, bunt it.
That's fair. No one's going to get it.
Yeah. That's always been a thing that really bothers me. Again, the shift itself, smart. Good strategic play. But the batters should really adjust. And a lot of them don't.
It's actually an honorable mention that I would have about one of the worst things about baseball is how scientific is the wrong word I would use, but like how specific in some of the strategies have gotten. I guess you could even like throw in maybe some of the cheating with like the eye cams in center field, but like it's cool to see how much stats have gone into baseball to really change the game and innovate it to have like some of these money ball strategies. Yeah. I think that's awesome. But when it's like so-and-so pulls the ball 41.2% of the time, so we're going to put like Howie Kendrick here. And the Dodgers, I remember one time when they were playing at Citi Field, they were like cutting up the grass in right and center as different like plays to make defensively, like different adjustments based on what a drone up top in the sky was telling them. So to me, yeah, they even talked about it with Manfred and nothing came of it. So you want to talk about things in tech that what?
Call me crazy. I don't think they should be using drones during a baseball game.
Right. Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at, though, is like you're starting to have drones be implemented. And it's not really much of a problem. You're having cams get implemented. You have the guys backstage, and you know, wasn't just Houston too. You could look at a few places in New York, maybe Boston.
Apple Watches, which was
yeah, it really was. But the game is changing, and I don't think there are definitely aspects of it that are coming with like some vices, like some really like dark clouds. Which is a lot of the technology that's coming into it. So hopefully they could actually like get a stop to it. So the game could really be like quote unquote the game versus just who has like the better like chess play going on with their tech.
I think it's kind of funny that a game that is basically I hit ball with stick is becoming super like technical.
It really is. Well, when you have millions and millions and millions at play,
yeah,
I guess you'll do what it takes to win.
And I don't blame them. Just don't get caught.
Don't get caught.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. That's why we got to bring steroids back.
I was about to say, don't get caught with your drones and take steroids.
Yeah, throwback to Mike Piazza when he got caught with his roids in his locker, and he was like, "It's just like my back knee medicine."
We should make it like extreme baseball, and like you can fly the drone like within like a foot of defenders' heads, just to try to.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Well, you don't hit them. If you hit them, that's a fine for sure.
How are you? I don't think that would work. But I like where your head's at.
Work either, but
Any audible mentions on your end?
No.
Yeah. The one other thing I can think of is
with that last one.
Yeah, I could just think of like the ballpark experience, going to get a hot dog in the third inning and you end up back of your seat in the seventh.
Yeah, going to the bathroom, just any stadium.
But that's sports. That's not so much baseball. But that's perfect timing. We're right at the hour. So, guys, again, thank you for tuning in. This has been Last Second Covers here with Chaz and Sula. If you're a Patreon subscriber, we thank you for listening in on our YouTube live stream. If you tuned into this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, any major podcasting platform, you name it, we're there. We would love and appreciate if you guys just drop us a 5-star review. And if you really enjoy the podcast, comment as well. And, let us know what you're thinking, maybe for some future episodes, what you like, and we'll keep this thing on grooving. But until then, guys, the hiatus is over. Hopefully sports are back in the coming weeks, but we will see. Guys, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you. And we'll talk to you next week.
Later.
Okay, Matt. Or Sula, I should say. Do your you want to do your little voice command?
Do now?
Why not? Otherwise, we're gonna break the podcast or break the stream in two. Did I cut out? Matt, did I cut out or is Sula frozen?
Nah, he's dead. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then that's not to be what it is. All right, cool. All on the broadcast.